Hi everybody, this is Pam Sledd from JesusJunkJournals, and I'm looking at my camera and it looks like I'm sitting up in the attic with this lamp behind me and so forth, but I am actually kind of in my attic, but I'm in my craft room. I wanted to talk to you today about junk journals because I think there's a lot of people that are new to junk journals and they don't know what they are, or they're wondering, well, what is it? Is it something I can do? And so normally you won't see my face because the way traditionally the videos are shot, you see people's hands as they craft, and they make videos that you can listen to while you craft and they're crafting, and so you never see anybody's face. But I thought for this one, because you might be new and not used to that format, I thought I would go ahead and put my face on here, which is not fun, but I wanted to talk about junk journaling, and I'm kind of creating a niche, I think, for Christian junk journaling. And so I wanted to talk about what is a junk journal. And so I'm gonna show you this. This one is, I think, my first one I did. And so traditionally a junk journal is junk. So you take wasted things, Amazon packaging, pages that you might throw away, envelopes that you might throw away, and it's just kind of a fun thing about it that people like to use up things that would normally go in the trash. So that's why they call them junk journals. I decided to do a different line called JesusJunkJournals for faith-based junk journaling. And so yes, you can make them all from junk, but a lot of people either don't have enough or don't have the right things, and so they buy digital kits. They're available on websites, they're available on Etsy, and you buy the kit, they send you an email, you click the link, and it prints out on your printer. And so you get, here's a couple. So like here are a couple pages, upside down. Here are a couple pages from one of my kits. And so you just print them out and you cut them up and you create your journal. So here's some more pages. So these are pieces and parts, and it makes it a lot easier because they're kind of, you can tell what they are. And like on mine, I do videos on the whole kit step by step, so you can see how to put your journal together. You can also do it however you want. So like for instance, this, I created it so that you could stack these 3 pockets on top of each other. But if you don't want to do that and you want to use them separately, you can do that too. So the other neat thing about junk journals is you can't be wrong. No matter what you do is fine. It's okay. And as far as, do you have the skills to make a junk journal? Yes. If you went to grade school and you learned how to use a pair of scissors and glue and Crayolas and all those things, you are completely trained and able to make a junk journal. Now, there are all kinds of art supplies that people use for it that are kind of standard ones, but you don't have to use them. You can use whatever you want. It's fun if you enjoy art supplies, which I do, to try new ones and watch videos on what different people are doing. And there's just almost an unlimited number of formats and products you can try and things you can use. People go out to the flea markets, I do, and get all kinds of things to put in their junk journal, because here's kind of the gist of a junk journal. So whether you make one or you receive one, it's supposed to be full of little hidey holes, little pockets and things, where little pieces of paper are tucked, little notes. Like this is a letter from my grandma that I kept, and just all sorts of cards and just intricate little pockets is kind of the fun of it, and envelopes and just all kinds of things. And then tucking in, like this is a copy of my father's old paycheck from 1939. And what I noticed about junk journals online is there didn't seem to be a lot of content. They generally are just design. So I decided to create some kits that have sort of a subject matter. So I have one that's called Thought Life, and so I took all the, well, not all, but most of the scriptures about what does the Bible say about anxiety and fear and depression. What help can we get from the Bible? What scriptures? And I printed them out. I hand lettered some of them, made them interesting and pretty, and I created a kit so that you could download those, cut those out, and you could create your own journal. And I titled it Thought Life, and I think probably not, as far as marketing is concerned, probably not the best idea. I don't think a lot of people got it, but I made mine. Yours will not look like mine. Everybody makes theirs differently, but here's how thick it was. I used all the kits that I put in my on my website, and so there's just all sorts of just things you can do and put together about that subject. And you can make one half the size, you can make it however big you want. So I thought what I would do is start from scratch for people who maybe have never done one, and talk to you about it like from that point of view. So if you wanted to do, let's say you today decide you want to try to make a junk journal. So let's say that you take one of my kits, and there's 12 pages. You fold them in half, you cut the edge off, and you, looking to see if I have, like here's one printed out. Yeah, here's the pages. So they come like this. So you would just trim the edges off, fold them in half, and those are your pages. So let's say you started with 12 of those and you folded them in half. Now on the back side, of course, they're white. And that's where you get to have fun. And so I'm gonna go through these different things you can do, but just to tell you, you can do stenciling, you can do decoupaging with napkins, you can, of course, draw and paint, and anything you can imagine you can do. But there are some kind of standard things people do to decorate. And I'll show you this. Let me see. Show you the stencil or the napkin. Here's the napkin. Kind of crazy. Here's a napkin decoupage. This octopus is a napkin, and you can get them at like Tuesday Morning and all over the place. Different napkins. You can get them on Etsy, and you pull them apart and you use Mod Podge. It's like one of the easiest things in the world to do. Anybody can do it, and they look great. And so you can do that, and then you can take stamps. Let me see if I can find stamps that I've done. I know I have one in my other journal, lots of it. So this page has stamping here. This is stamping. And it's kind of layers of stuff to make it look grungy and messy, however messy you want it to be or not be. I like it messy, I like it grungy, so I do a lot. You do stamping. This is a stamp, this word here. You can sew. You can see the stitches on this page where I sewed the pocket on the page here. And see, this pocket was one of those little triangles from my kit. Put it on the sewing machine and just stitch it just like you do cloth. You don't have to sew. You can glue them. You can put little grommets in things and put ribbons. And this is a printout. Change Your Mind is a printout from my kit, my Thought Life kit. This page is what we call eco print, eco dye, eco print. And you take flowers and smash them between paper. And there's a video on that. It's super easy, and anybody can literally do it. Seriously, anybody can do it. And the flowers make these really pretty prints. And it's really habit forming. You do some and you just can't hardly stop. Here's the back side. You can see some fern leaves that I put on there. And so back to the 12 basic pages. So you take your pages, you fold them in half, and then you do stuff on the back. And then you take there's an add-on kit, and that has all the little pieces and parts. Like here's a printout. You cut all the little pieces and parts out, and that's how you make your journal. You put the pockets in, and then you make the cards to put in the pockets. And you make what we call ephemera, which are little bitty pieces of fun stuff. It could be pieces of lace. It can be cards. Like here's an example. Like this little feather is in one of my kits. So you just cut it out, and just so you know, they have all these terms they use. This is called fussy cutting. When you cut kind of intricate things out, they call it fussy cutting. And if you enjoy that, you can do it. And if you don't enjoy it, then don't do it. Tickets are kind of a big thing. So these are tickets that I created. And here's one of the little envelopes, little coin envelope that was in the kit, that you just cut it out and fold it up and glue it. It's super simple. You make it in about 2 seconds. And everything, see how it looks old and aged? That's distress ink. That's a big thing with junk journals. Everybody uses it, and you just basically wipe it on the edges and it makes it look old. Super easy, super fun. The neat thing about junk journaling is it's kind of, a lot of it is mindless. You can just sit there and you can just play with your paint, smear it around. It's almost like a step back to grade school at some level on some of these things. And another thing we do is we take Gesso, which is a white paint that you use to, actually it's used to prime canvases if you're a painter. But they use it in junk journaling. You can see it here. It's like just another layer of textures. And I took a thing and scraped it across right here, this white, just to add some more interest, another layer, make it look old. And you can put, like, there's tabs in my kits that you can cut out and put on your pages. So you just kind of build this book, right? And that's really fun. That's great. But the other cool thing I think about doing the Bible-based ones, they make great gifts. And so if you know somebody like this Thought Life Journal, if you know somebody that's going through something, maybe they have anxiety or they're depressed, you can make them a journal and give it to them as a gift. And, you know, it's one thing to have a conversation with somebody if they're depressed or whatever, and you can tell them things and you can try to help them and pray with them. But when you give them this journal, because it's a keepsake and it's interesting, they're probably going to go through it multiple times and look at it and kind of ponder it, think about it, you know, meditate on it. And so there are these scriptures and these ideas from the Bible. So like, cast your cares. You know, and so as they go through this journal, when you're not around them, maybe you're across the country from them, but they have this journal to look at. And, you know, what I said when I started this kit, I said, you know, for me, I get anxious a lot of times when things are going on at night. I'll wake up and I can't go back to sleep, and I'll get up. And, you know, sometimes I'm just like, what's something I can just put my mind on, you know? And if they know they have this journal, they can pull it off their bookshelf in the middle of the night when they're having a bad moment, and they can just, you know, sometimes it's not so much, how can I say it? It's about getting the bad thoughts out of your mind. And to do that, you need to put good thoughts in. And so, you know, there's some lengthy scriptures they can read. There's some just simple ideas like peace of mind they can look at. You can, of course, add your personal notes, which makes it even better if you write them a letter or write them little notes and stick in the pockets. But, you know, as they look through this, it's just a repeated kind of help for them as they look at the different scriptures and different things. You know, God says his word will not return to him void. And so, you know, if they read this scripture, he promises it'll have an effect. It's a supernatural thing from God that it will have an effect on them. And so this is your way of getting that into their hands. And so, you know, they can look at this over the years as many times as they want to. So I just think that it's wonderful to make them. It's really fun to make them, but then it's also wonderful to give them to people who need them. I just did a new kit on heaven, and I'm excited about it. And it's all the scriptures that talk about heaven. because, you know, the Bible tells us to think about heaven. Like, we're not from this earth, we're from heaven, and we're just here temporarily. And so when things are kind of bad here, you need to remember this isn't our ultimate place. And I think it's a really good gift to give somebody who maybe has lost someone, a husband or somebody close, and it just puts them in the frame of mind of heaven and thinking about what it's going to be like and what do we know about heaven. It's also good. I just had a friend, I was showing her my printouts from this new kit, and she got all excited about it, and she wanted to take them. She wanted to like buy the pages from me so that she could write letters on the backs to send to this man that's in hospice that she knows. And you know, as we were looking through the pages and reading it, every time I do it, I get all excited about heaven again. And so I think it would be inspiring. This man, she said, is looking forward. He's a pastor, and he's looking forward to heaven. And so, you know, she felt like it was a proper thing to send to him, and he'd really enjoy it. So I think there's a lot of uses for it. A lot of people you could give it to as a gift. So anyway, that's enough for this time. I just wanted to kind of introduce the idea of it to you, and I'll come back with some other things. Thanks for watching.